Hey class, it's Dr. Kelly. It's January 20th. It's a gloomy day in Texas. It got chilly last night. There was some rough weather in some places. Um, I don't know about you, but it's always a little bit hard for me to get back into the rhythm of things. In January, we had such a nice break. But in this podcast, I want to talk about how to succeed in this course. And I kind of want you to start thinking about the course a little bit. And I want you to start confronting the material in a positive way. But first of all, I have to ask you to have sympathy for me because I made a disastrous decision. For 3 decades, I grew up in Texas and I was a Cowboys fan. But when Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys, I just couldn't stand him. And, for 3 decades, I've just, or however long Jones is on the Cowboys, I just have not been a Cowboys fan. But I decided before the San Francisco game, and if you don't like football, sorry about this, I was going to root for the Cowboys. And of course, they lost. It was awful. They didn't play well. They mismanaged the last play of the game. They ran a quarterback draw. And this is kind of how the Cowboys have rolled for the last, I guess, 20 plus years. And I don't really know what I've gotten myself into, but I'm scared. Now, some of y'all might be Texans fans, and I might just ask why? Why would anybody be a Texan fan? I mean, they're just beyond hope. Anyway, okay. How do you do well in this course? First of all, for any online course, you've got to create a structure for yourself. You don't wait till the last minute to confront this material. It's just a miserable way to go to college. Now, I do know a lot of you have jobs. Some of you have very demanding jobs. A lot of you have kids, family and kids, and a fair amount of you have families and jobs. So I know times of a premium, and you don't have all the time in the world. When I went to college, frankly, I had quite a bit of time. I was on some government financial aid. I was getting VA because my father had been in the military. But I know a lot of you aren't in that situation. So understanding that whoever you are and whatever your situation is, you've got to create a schedule for studying this material in a way that you can comprehend it, relatively easily. And if you wait until the last minute, it just won't work. Now, I know I'm not the first person, the first teacher to ever tell you not to wait to the last minute. I'm sure your parents or other adults in your family have told you that. But it is true. You have to create a structure. So think about times. I post the modules on Monday. I posted on Tuesday this week because we didn't start till Tuesday. And think about if there's times that you can study between the Monday when I post the module and the Tuesday when I deploy the quiz. Various times, maybe a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, you can study for this class. I think at most this class is about studying it, doing the reading is probably about 5 hours a week. Maybe some weeks it's a little bit longer. It kind of depends on how quickly you read, so you don't hold me to that. But it's not an incredibly hard class. There is some reading, and it's adult reading. The books that I assign are college level books. You're in college now. UTSA is an R1 university. So you're going to be challenged. That's the whole point of being a Research One university. But on the other hand, this is a core course. It's a 2000 level course. And I just don't think I have to just drive you nuts and teach you every little detail about Texas history. So create a structure for yourself when you study, and try to stick to that to the best that you can over the course of the week. Now, I'm sure maybe even a majority of the class doesn't like history. I honestly don't care if you like history or not. I think I'll actually turn some of you around, a fair amount of you around, about the significance of history and the significance of Texas history as well. But if I don't, that's fine. But even if you don't like history, there's ways of studying for this class that will make it work for you. First of all, one of the things that students hate, and maybe the top thing they hate about history, is names and dates. just the dry facts of history that just kind of squeeze all the juice out of history. So I try to avoid that to the extent that I can. And in my lectures, I try to tell you stories. I try to create a narrative, or one of the ways you might think about a plot, to think about Texas history. And so when you approach this course, go think about the big picture first. What's the story I'm trying to tell? And then try to fit the details of history into that story. Let me give you an example. We live in an age of streaming. Everybody has their popular shows. I just watched a show called Station 11. I know Yellow Jackets has been popular really recently. My wife watches Emily in Paris, which is just a horrible show. But anyway, everybody's got their favorite shows. Think about your favorite show. And I could test you on the most minute details of your favorite show because you understand the story of that show. So the facts of the story fit into the larger narrative. They're sticky. The facts become sticky. So if you think about the bigger story first and you put the facts second, that helps you in this course. You want the facts to become sticky. And how do they become sticky? You think about the narrative that I'm creating. And that is how I try to teach the course. I teach a narrative course. You will have to learn some basic facts, some names and dates, the hated names and dates. But what I try to do very hard is signal you the names and dates that you need to know. And I try to stop and I try to say, look, you're going to have to remember that. You may not want to, it seems boring, but this is something you have to remember. So we can't get away from names and dates. And the other thing is that history happens in a chronological order. One thing happens and something else happens. Someone once called history one damn thing after another. You have to understand the basic sequence of history. Think about your own life. How could someone understand your life if they talked about kindergarten after they talked about high school? It just wouldn't make sense. So there is a chronological order to history. So what I try to do with the hated facts and figures, names and dates of history, is just to signal you what's important. And when I do that, you know what, just write it down somewhere, put an asterisk around it. There's stuff, you have to just suck it up. And there's some basic stuff that you have to know, but I try to make it as painless as possible. And I also try to signal you what you're going to need to know for the quizzes and the midterms. That's the other thing that I work very hard to do. And I know what I want you to learn in Texas history, and this is what I teach you. I teach you what I want you to learn, and I test you on what I've taught you. I have a very clear idea of what I want you to take from this course. And if you take what I want you to take from this course, well, you'll make an A or a B, and I'm very happy about that. So I'm not one of those professors, one of these crazy professors that test you on something I've never talked about. I try very, very hard to signal you on what you need to know. But on the other hand, you have to do the work too. I can't tell you everything, but I do try to break it down into bite-sized pieces that make sense, that create a story, that kind of create a dramatic story that hopefully a fair amount of you, even some of you who come into this class dreading it, will find interesting. So anyway, so that's kind of my little monologue on how to do well in the course. Create a structure for yourself, be open to it. In terms of my teaching, listen to the narrative that I create. I will post keywords for each podcast lecture. If you know those keywords, you'll see those keywords on the quizzes and midterms. I pitch the ball straight down the middle in this course. I'm not out to trick anybody. I want everybody to do well in this course. I'd love it if everybody made an A. This isn't a weed out course in any way, shape, or form. I want you all to know Texas history, to get excited about it. It's where you live. It's a fascinating place. And knowing about it will just enhance your experience here. And the other thing is I just want you to know about the importance of history. A lot of y'all don't think history, and you know what, I'm maybe talking about in a broad brush, but history is extremely important because it affects every second of your waking life. is really determined by something that happened in the past. I had a professor once who said, you may not care about history, but history cares about you. And that's a very profoundly true statement. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Anybody have any questions? Reach out to me if you'd like to meet with me via Zoom. What could be easier? I can set up something. Go ahead and get started in the course, start engaging in the material. I'll post the first quiz on Tuesday. Get into some kind of rhythm in this course. I don't care what the rhythm is. You determine that, but it's really important that in these first couple of weeks, you get into some kind of rhythm about how you're going to study for this course, when you're going to take the quizzes, and how you're going to adjust to learning this material. Again, any problems, questions, concerns, criticisms, reach out to me. I'm very responsive to my students. Okay, good luck in this class. Good luck in all your classes this semester. Good luck to the Cowboys, and I would say good luck to the Texans, but they're beyond hope.